I am back with a new video. This video is going to be about cars, but not in a conventional sense. If you're not new to this channel, you know that I very rarely endorse anything too old-fashioned or traditional. So this is going to be another really edgy segment of the transportation market. I'm going to talk about 3 cars which you could keep in an apartment. Definitely you can bring it indoors into most houses and homes. And I'm going to start with the so-called POWER-BUGGY-DX. Believe it or not, this thing is sold on Amazon and on Walmart as well for under $4,000. Now that is the price of a Brompton Titanium. It is the price of a fairly entry-level Birdie monocoque or a lower-level Alex Moulton bicycle. So it's really quite affordable, and it's also extremely compact. Now, I'm not suggesting that you go to Amazon to get or to even research this thing. There are many other sites, and the link I'm providing is to one of the better sites. If you are seriously interested and in the market for something like this, you definitely want to buy from a domestic company that takes care of the import, gives you a warranty, and maybe some upgrade options as well. In this case, I'm looking at the websites on mobilityscoottrike.com, and the price is a little higher than on Amazon. This is $3,800, but you get a year of warranty with it. You have some choice of colors. A very interesting power booster option. This would allow you to upgrade from 750 watts to 1200, which I would definitely want to get. The battery pack on these is an old-fashioned lead acid battery, and that's why the weight is about 350 pounds. The first thing I would do with a scooter like this would be I would rip out the batteries and replace them with at least a lithium phosphate pack, which would probably extend the range a great deal for the same weight, or might even reduce the weight. You can get a second year of warranty for $75. A battery maintenance charger. I don't know if that's necessary. I'm not sure if you can charge it at 240 or just 110. I think for this size of battery, 110 is going to be enough. I have a 700 watt battery on my Brompton, although only at 48 volts, and I can charge it up on 110 in only 4 hours. You can get a scooter cover and even an electric alarm system, just in case somebody is trying to steal your 4-wheel mini car or mini micro, sub-micro car, however you want to call it. The thing is, this is legally classified as a mobility scooter. You can bring it inside buildings, into elevators, into apartments and business complexes. You can use them on greenways. You can go where a bicycle or a pedestrian can go. You can get on the sidewalk. I don't think you can lift it, like one person could not lift it, but because of its small ultra compact size and classification as a mobility scooter, it's excellent for something that's more than the average standard 2-wheel e-scooter. It gives you some weather protection and a whole lot more stability, especially on ice or wet surfaces in the winter. So this is for people who want a little bit more than a 2-wheeler but don't want to get into a car deal. These are people who just want to go out and get groceries, run errands, and things like that. This can be left on the sidewalk also. Much less of a chance of somebody running you over, because it's not a very sturdy vehicle, It does give you a little bit more protection than if you were sitting on a bicycle or standing on a scooter, but the protection is not earth-shaking. This is still mostly open. It just has a windshield and a cover. This is typically marketed for old people. I think that's a silly marketing. It should be marketed for everybody, because this is so useful if you live in a town center or inner city and you don't really care about going too far. You just want to do a few miles, like a 10-mile distance from home or maximum 15. The range of these things is about 30 miles with the standard battery. But just as I mentioned, I would immediately upgrade the battery and go even longer. But even if you can do only 25 or 30 miles on a charge, I think that's enough for a lot of people. So this was the first car that I would take seriously as an apartment car, something that you can bring indoors just for one person. The second car I am reviewing is the P50. The P50 was launched in Great Britain in the early 1960s, and then there was a show about it on British television. That show kind of went viral. I don't know how many millions of people saw it. I saw it on YouTube. And then one of these original gasoline versions was sold on an auction for $170,000. So there is an extreme collector value in this, collector quality, I would say. I mean, a new one, if you're buying a replica now, and there's a company that's selling them at p50cars.com, and this company actually sells several kits. None of them is over $20,000. So we are looking at between $15,000 to $17,000, including an electric version that you can buy as a kit, which is very significant because if you're in the US and you assemble it yourself, you can register it fairly easily as a home-built moped. And once you have a license plate with it, you can get it onto many bridges as a moped, into tunnels, even on some highways. If you just want to jump on for an exit or two, that's totally doable. So I would definitely go with the electric kit. I would choose a red color for the outside and with a white interior. You could also go with black to be more sporty, but this is such a tiny place. And you can get that for $15,000. Now this is the price of almost 4 of the DX that I was just reviewing. So you are paying a whole lot more money for what? For something that can be registered, for something that's a bit more sturdy. You're definitely fully enclosed, completely protected from the elements. I don't even think you need a heater because your breath is going to keep you warm. There is a window wiper accessory, which is really nice, and rear view mirrors. On the other hand, compared to the DX, we have lost a wheel because there's only 3 wheels, and only the one in the rear is powered. The top speed of this thing is 45 kilometers an hour. That's 28 miles an hour. So this is definitely classifiable as a moped. This is no race car. And I think the big deal about buying it is that this is still going to fit into an elevator. It's still going to go into an office building or even into an apartment. It can probably be forced through many doors, even a single door, not to mention if you have a double door. And there is that collector value of it. Now, since this particular replica is on the market now, you're probably not going to get $170,000 for it, but who knows what can happen somewhere down the road. So the second car in this segment that I would take seriously would be the P50 in a replica form as an electric kit that you build yourself, unless you live in Britain, in which case you don't have to worry about shipping it to another country and tolls and all of that. They do sell it to you pre-assembled, but that's going to cost you a couple of thousand extra. So this was the second car, and now for the third car, I'm going to be a bit more daring. This is a little bit more than an apartment car, unless you live in one of those apartments where you have a freight elevator and double doors, and you can get something like this through. This is actually quite heavy. This is approaching a half a ton. So I'm stretching the definition a bit because this is a little bit between an apartment car and a street car. Not a long-range car by any means. It can only do the 28 miles an hour, which is 45 kilometers. And it was made in Europe. It is an Italian design. I think it is a very, very cool design, to be honest. And it is electric, not overly powerful, and the range is not that great. It is sold in Europe, so it's going to charge on 220 or 240. It doesn't have a 110 volt charging option. So if you are buying it in the US, you would have to install a 240 charger or an outlet. I actually did that last year in my Manhattan apartment, and it cost, I think I paid $1,000 or $2,000. So it can be done, but they have to open the wall, and it's just it's pretty expensive to do. But you can take the batteries out. You can leave the car outside, and the batteries slip out, and you can wheel them up very conveniently to the apartment and charge upstairs. Isn't that nice? And also it's going to make it less likely to be stolen, because why would anybody, or how would anybody steal an electric car with no batteries in it? Vandalism is possible, and that's going around everywhere in the West right now because we have no law and order. But overall, for $15,000, this is a fair deal. You are getting very cute design. This is a reliable company. I've been looking at these cars in Amsterdam and the Netherlands for the past 2 decades. So the company is there. They have phased out some of the models, but I think they are going to survive. You have disc brakes. You have a kind of halfway decent metal frame, certainly better than what you get with the DX. Not like the protection you would get from the sale of a smart car, unfortunately, but this is a good deal lighter. And it is all electric. There is now an all-electric smart car, but I think that's a micro car. That's not an apartment car. This is a different category, but in this case, you can put 2 people in it, 1 driver and 1 passenger. There are literally hundreds of cars on various Chinese sites and all over the web that are supposed to do the same thing. But be careful about buying from companies that have no reputation. They are not in your own country. There's no warranty coming with it. It's questionable that the company is even going to be there, even if you do get a warranty. So I would be careful with that. Also with these cars, because they are so underpowered and the electric motors are really so tiny, they are not going to be able to go up on any kind of elevation. They will tackle 15 to 20 degree grades, but they are not going to go up on everything. So you have been warned. You have to look at the area where you're going to be using the car. And in most cases, they don't have any gears either, so that you could at least downshift like in a cheap gasoline car. Maybe you have a small engine, but you can at least downshift and slowly crawl up at 25 degree elevation. So you're not going to get these. I think this is the Biro. This is a really, really cute car, and that's probably why it is so popular in some areas. I don't know if you could get this on a greenway. In the US, I would say this is iffy. The service people operate these kinds of very small cars and even service cars and trucks in Manhattan, but I'm not sure if a private person would be allowed to use this. Nevertheless, I have never seen these cars in America, and I think this is a market that is worth exploring. It's just like the Velomobile. It is a very slowly growing market in America, but most people don't know what it is, so there is no awareness of it. I would say in a place like New York City, this would be totally ideal. You could park it almost anywhere, even in the city, and instead of suffering in the dirty and crime-ridden subway, you could go around and reach any point within town within reasonable time, even in winter. So it's good for that. It's $15,000. Is that expensive? It's kind of pricey, but some people are paying $10,000 for an electric bike or scooter. And an entry-level gasoline car at this point, something like a Toyota Corolla or a Honda Civic, is now going in the mid-20s. They are around $24,000, $25,000, maybe $23,000 if you are very lucky. So I think this is a valid option for a lot of people. Also in the US, this would have to be registered as a neighborhood car. The top speed on this has been tested. Whatever they claim, it's only 25, 26 miles an hour. The neighborhood registration in most states is 25 miles an hour. In some states, they raised it to 35. I personally would prefer to see it eliminated. I would just assign a weight. Anything under, I don't know, anything under a half a ton or a third of a ton can go as fast as it wants to go, and you just need to have a driver license to drive it. And you can go around without a registration. I have had countless of motorcycles stolen and several cars vandalized in Manhattan. The police is of no help anyway. So registering a car is just a waste of time, and obviously to pay more money to the government. In any case, this is it for the current video. Check out these cars. I realize you may not want to give up your 3-ton SUV right away to get into one of these. And even if anybody buys these in the US, they would probably be an extra car in addition to the SUV or the crossover that you have. Or it is a step up for somebody who already has an electric scooter or a bike and who likes the experience but wants to go around in the winter as well. That is it. Again, feel free to subscribe, to like, share, and so on, and I'll be back with the next video in a few days.